Hello, friends, and welcome to Book Banter. So, today we are going to have an interview with Tara Travis. And generally, I like to give you a quick background on the person I'm interviewing. But when Tara's bio came across my desk, it was honestly just too incredible not to share with you. So, please bear with me because it's a little bit long. She's done some pretty amazing things in her career. So, I want to fill you in on all those things. Tara Travis is a Vancouver-based voice artist, actor, writer, puppeteer, and creative human, known for her prowess as a solo performer, her physical shape-shifting abilities, and vocal acrobatics. Throughout her career, she has co-created and performed in over 30 original plays. As a co-founder of the Vancouver International Puppet Festival, Tara has incorporated animated object, hand and rod, and shadow puppetry into many of her works. As a puppeteer for hire, recent credits include Multiple Elves in Keeping Up with the Clauses, the Washboard Union's award-winning music video Country Thunder, and super fun single slam poet in an educational series which is currently in development. I highly recommend you visit YouTube to check out the Washboard Union's music video. I may be a little bit biased as a fan of both their music and Tara's talent, but it's worth the 3 or 4 minutes of your day, and it's sure to bring a smile to your lips. Anyway, as a performance artist in collaboration with Elizabeth Milton, Tara has cried in 7 different genres for The Actor Cries, monologued as Elizabeth Taylor-esque, has been for The Audition, improvised as 3 deceased individuals for Portraits, that one I'm curious about, sucked lemons and repeatedly applied lipstick for Vancouver Art Gallery's Fuse, and sung The Wind Beneath My Wings repeatedly until she could muster a genuine tear in the enthusiastically received Misty moment. Most recently, she has been working as a voice actor, including 5 seasons of the live original horror satire comedy show Phantom Signal, which is now a podcast. Numerous WonkyBot productions, theatrical podcasts, including the award-winning Tara Tremendous, and multiple characters on the incredible new multi-platform children's entertainment endeavor, Alpha Squad. That is currently in development. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing that. She works out of her home vocal studio and is a burgeoning sound engineer as well, having performed, recorded, and produced several audiobooks. Most recently, I was fortunate enough to have Tara narrate All That Was. Tara lives to create and creates to live. So please, help me welcome Tara Travis to Book Banter. Hello.
Hello. Wow. That's a hefty intro.
It's a heck of an intro, isn't it? Yes.
I believe you read the whole thing.
Well, to be honest, I had a few questions about it. I was like, okay, I want to know about the Scream and I want to know about the deceased portraits.
Fair enough. It's been a wild and diverse career.
I bet. So I have to say that the little at the end of your email signature says voice artist, actor, puppeteer, writer, and creative human. And I absolutely love that. I think that everybody should get to put creative human as their email signature tag.
It's true for everyone.
It is.
It really is.
And I would love to see everybody sort of embrace that side of themselves.
Yes.
And I think it basically encompasses everything that you do. But I'd love to know more about each aspect of those parts of your career.
Okay.
That's a loaded question.
Succinctly, shall we? Reel me in if you need to. I get a little verbose. I'll try to sum this up. But at the heart of that handle is actor, which was always the dream since childhood. Very, very classic story. You know, I was the one in the neighborhood who was bossing all the kids around and directing plays at the age of 5, and you know, having everyone bow to my vision. I was very passionate, and you know, I started doing community theater, you know, at the age of 8, and taking classes, and I was in every school play and all of that kind of thing. That was always very much the dream. And as I kind of evolved into my practice, I realized that I was going to be more of a creator actor than than an actor who went to a conservatory program kind of thing, because I really had the National Theatre School in my sights. And then I realized that's, I mean, it's an incredible program. It would be amazing. But I also realized that who I am, I'm much more of a deviser, and just a little less traditional in my approach. So I pursued methods that allowed for more of that. I got a lot of the fundamental theater training, and then I also did things like study with mask masters and puppetry masters, and physical theater and clown. And I kind of did a build your own theater education, which allowed me to then go off and start creating my own work and creating a career on my own terms, because in my early 20s, after graduating from theater school, I did do a lot of that sort of general audition stuff and handing out resumes and trying to book the jobs, and that's
a hard gig in itself.
That's a hustle, and it's something that every actor does when they're starting, and is having a hard time finding my pocket. So I just kept chasing the things that excited me, and making work with collaborators with whom I shared a vision and passion, and through various different relationships that I built over time, I just I fell into things like puppetry, and faked my way through an audition and started touring with a group, and I was, okay, well, that's in my arsenal now. Great. And and then was discovered by Ryan Gladstone, who is the artistic director of Monster Theater, who then invited me into his company, and we co-produced and created shows for many, many years.
And Monster Theater is?
It's a Vancouver-based theater company with two arms, Monster Theater for Kids and Monster Theater. So we create shows for kids that tour to schools and theaters all over Canada and beyond, and then also shows for adults, which are often solo shows and 2- and 3-handers. And sometimes the van is full of 3 shows at once, and we pull up into a town and say, which one are we today? Great.
Really? Oh, wow. That's keeping a lot of balls in the air.
A lot. So yeah, long story short, I was on this reel of creation and touring and producing also for about 15 years, creating a show, touring a show, doing the bookings, creating a new show, touring a show, doing the bookings, and I got to the point where I was getting a little road weary.
Yeah,
and
dog and pony show.
Yeah. I'm starting to feel the pressure of creation rather than
the joy.
The joy,
Yeah.
So I decided to take a step back, because I was like, I need to be in love with this again. I need to do something else for a while so I can fall back in love with it. And I had always wanted to pursue voice acting, because with puppetry, I mean, that opened up worlds for me, where I realized, I can play anyone. I'm not limited to what this 6'1" tall
point
weirdo can do. This expands my range. I can play a Scottish goat. I can play a 9-year-old boy.
Did you voice the puppets as well?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which I think really informed my arsenal of voices.
Yeah.
So I already had a lot of the fundamentals. I already knew how to be an actor, how to pull emotion from the page and find a world for a character, find a pitch, find a voice, find a placement. It was just finding reverse camera. We're joking about the reverse camera thing. I'm a TV puppeteer. I should know how to do this.
It's so true. I keep going, wrong side.
Yeah. So the main thing was just learning all of the technical stuff, learning how to edit and getting the right setup and building a booth and learning how to network and find those jobs as opposed to creating theater opportunities for
Like a
myself.
different
So
lane almost.
yeah, similar superpowers, just redirect.
Oh, yeah.
Same with in the pandemic. I don't have the option of live theater as well. So
True.
I've been doing some film and TV stuff, which is a neat opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Well, yeah, and the kids program looks so cool. I don't have any little people to, have an excuse to watch it, but so I'm just going to watch it.
oh, yeah. SWAT is for everyone. I think it's very much in the spirit or the realm of a lot of those Pixar productions and that kind of thing. There's layered humor. There's something for everyone. It's yeah. I'm really
You're gonna
excited.
have to keep me posted when that comes out because I am
I
looking.
will.
Definitely
Yeah, exciting things are happening there. So what else did I cover? You kind of got the basic idea of actor, puppeteer, mostly do these guys, voice artist, making voices for commercial stuff, animation stuff, for bringing life to wonderful, incredible works of fiction. And as a writer, I'm actually about to take writer off of my handle, I think, because I'm more of a devised creator. And so anything that I create, I tend to make it on my feet and then I write it down. So I think I'm kind of cheating when I say writer.
I think I disagree. I actually
Okay.
think that that's how a lot of writers work. It's just that we percolate. Everything kind of is
That's
running through our head for a long time and that everything's unfolding visually for us. And then we go and write it down.
Well, coming from a professional writer, maybe I will take that in.
I think that's the process, but I could be wrong. I mean, I know every writer's process is a little different. But it's funny because for my next book, I have very detailed outlined it.
Yeah.
And so part of my struggle right now is, but I already know what happens. So my motivation to keep hitting the words is like, but I already know what happens to the story. I've already told it to myself.
Right. Right.
So I think that there's that on the feet kind of creativity is hugely valuable. And I think even if you were to sit down and plot and plan something out, I think you'll still have sort of episodes of that creativity floating in. So I wouldn't take it off.
Physically jump into the world and see what it tells you, right?
Exactly. Because there's always some character who comes out of the blue and goes, excuse me.
Hello. Hi.
And I know who they are. I could name them. So
Nice.
yeah, you're really going to put me in this book. I told you you were.
Yeah.
So steering you towards voice actor, was it strictly COVID sort of related, or were you already well in that vein?
I was already starting. I was sort of in the crossfade because theater still very much has a part in my heart, but I just knew I had to get off the Autobahn. I was powering through a theater life. I had to get off the ride a little bit and just take the occasional Ferris wheel, so I was building my booth and starting to build relationships with agents and getting profiles up and making demos and all that kind of thing, because it takes a while to establish all of that stuff. And then I was still doing the occasional tour or taking the occasional acting gig, the occasional little commercial venture or short film or that kind of thing. And then COVID hit and I thought, oh golly, I'm glad I had that booth all set up.
No kidding.
I know what my focus is going to be for a little bit.
Which is life-saving as well in terms of mental health. And
absolutely. Because so many of my dear friends and colleagues they're just devastated. It's just like, I mean, as in many fields, it's not limited to the arts, but
No.
just kind of completely uprooted and where do I put all of the things that I have to offer the world? What do I do with that? Where do I put it? How do I manage this? How do I move
It
forward?
becomes much more than just a financial situation. It becomes your identity and where
Yeah,
you go to express that.
absolutely. So
That's
there's
a
a
challenge.
big, a big mental health piece too, just
Mhm.
purpose.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Yes.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I've been doing my best to, check in on those friends and um, even, help create opportunities for some of them. I've been passing along different voice opportunities and doing some small collaborations with other friends just to make things happen, little online things and all that kind of stuff. Um, but yes, I acknowledge I was in a privileged position to already have this infrastructure and the ability to just lean in and commit.
That's
Uh,
good.
but but I have to say, it's kind of one of those things like when you're a kid and you're playing with a toy and you're so done with it,
Yeah.
and then another kid starts playing with it and you go, no wait, no, I want it back. It's mine. It's
Right?
mine. You know, I was so burnt out from theater because I was just doing it too hard. I was just on the grind of it. And then the minute I wasn't allowed to have it, like, that's all I want to
Isn't it true? Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
But
I think that human nature
human
overrides.
nature, human nature.
And it makes sense. I mean, I think it was fair. I mean, I consider myself very fortunate that you happen to be all set up and ready to go
Oh,
for narration. That worked out really well for me.
I am just boundlessly appreciative of this connection and that we got to work together and that I had the honor of bringing voice to your beautiful book.
Oh
I
my
can't
God.
even
It's
I can't even tell you. Like, hashtag dream gig. You know what I mean?
right. Yeah. Me too.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
Because
You know?
yeah, I guess the process we'll get to the book
We'll get to look at that.
because the process it's yeah, it's like going on a blind date. It really is.
It is. Well, I'm so out of practice with that business. Yeah.
You know, I was married at 21, so there wasn't a lot of
Yeah. I've been married for like 16 years. I'm like, ah. And even before that, I was terrible at dating.
I didn't yeah, no, I'm not.
I'm much
That's
better
a
with
whole other
friendship connections. Yeah. Professional connections. This is good. This is where I
exactly.
shine. Yeah.
So with that, I guess which aspect of your career is the most rewarding for you?
Oh, that's a great question. Uh, there are many rewarding aspects, I have to say, and so many facets to my career. But
Yeah.
one I think is the people and the human connections I get to make.
Yeah.
For years, touring the same festival circuit and meeting so many of the same
Wow.
artists and creators, there's this tribe that happens where we all look out for each other and support each other and learn from each other. There's just this family that happens. It's just this weird kind of summer camp for expressive weird
Yeah.
adults thing that happens. This is like this bond like unlike anything else. The opportunity to intimately collaborate with people and um, I just relationships are so important to me, and that's gigantic and huge. Also,
Relationships are the crux of the rest of life.
yes,
They are the center of everything. If you don't have
they
relationships, you don't have anything else in your life.
you just don't. You
Yeah.
just don't. It's the key to longevity too. It truly
Yeah.
is, and nurturing and maintaining those relationships is everything.
Especially
And
when you
I
find a tribe that is that gets you, that understands
Yeah.
how you think and you all laugh at the same thing before it even actually fully happens. You,
Yeah.
you have
Yeah.
that. You, there's
Belonging.
that. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And all humans need to belong. All
All
beings
humans do.
need
Yeah.
to belong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in that same vein, my latest iteration of my job now allows me to really nurture the relationships with my family and with my friends who aren't a part of the business. I get to have so much more time with my sisters and my nieces and nephews, and and my parents and my husband. Bless him, he hung around for great swaths of time while I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm in Winnipeg. I'll call you later. Bye." I'd be gone for months at a time sometimes, right?
Wow.
Yeah,
So it
yeah.
might have been like the opposite of having you home all the time that shifted things.
I know, right? We're making up for lost time in the pandemic. Right.
We're learning how to live together again.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Like it's yeah.
Constantly, always. Which is beautiful. It's good. We're good. But yeah, it is very much the opposite. So I'm so grateful for that I have space for that now, because in the early part of my career I was very career centric, just any gig, yes, I'll take it. Yes,
Right.
yes, I don't care. I'll be gone. I'll miss family vacations. I missed birthday
Oh,
parties. I missed so many things, and um, you know, uh, I don't regret having taken those things on because they helped me develop as an artist. But I definitely have my priorities more in line, and I know what's more important, and I'm better at saying no to things in the interest of my core values.
that comes with experience, I think.
Yeah.
I think it really does come with um there's usually something that happens in our lives that kind of makes us refocus, and that's when we go, okay, wait a sec. I have room for 5 things in my life,
Yeah.
and I'm going to pick which 5 those are.
Hmm.
And in going forward that way, I think it's very healthy. And it doesn't mean that you don't allow yourself to be open to see other things or
No.
experience other things. It's just that you can do 5 things well.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, or for me, it's 3. I can do 3 things well, and even that's a struggle. So,
There's something to be said for narrowing your focus, though, because I'm a squirrel. Like anything shiny that interests me, I'll go play with it for a bit.
yeah,
But um, but you can only advance when you really commit for certain amounts of time
very true.
to one genre or application or skill, or so
So
um,
true.
so yeah, narrowing that focus a little bit is something I'm still working on.
It's hard when everything is so shiny and red.
I know, and when so many things excite you.
And I think that's a creative challenge generally. Like I
Yeah.
think creatives tend to be people who are like, "Ooh, I could go do this with that idea, or I can go do that with that idea." And I think that's the challenge is staying focused in your lane long enough to complete projects and to
Yes.
really hone your skills. And yeah,
Yes.
I do get
Time management being one of them.
yeah, I don't know why 24 hours is not enough, but
I don't know where all those hours go.
I don't know why we have to sleep so much and why we have to take the time
Yeah.
to eat.
So much of that, so much chewing.
Right? Cooling takes a lot of time.
If I could have all that time back, I would have written an opera libretto by now.
Right? So true. So with that in mind, why don't you tell us what the day in the life of Tara Travis looks like?
Oh golly, uh, depends on the day, I will say. Um, Speaking to the very many facets of my life. Yeah, days are super different depending on what's on deck. But there are some things that I do keep consistent every day, no matter what, and that's to keep me focused and centered and, on target. So I have a bunch of daily non-negotiables. Like my morning routine is always the same, which includes certain self-care rituals and, all the usual human getting ready stuff, as well as, checking in on my calendar and the order of operations. No computer until I've done such and such,
Yes.
And same with honoring a bedtime.
Yeah.
I'm hit and miss with that. But trying to, respect my sleep and my nighttime ritual, which includes going over my planner, looking ahead, planning the next day, all that kind of thing. And then the meat between that non-negotiable bread can be any number of things. Sometimes it's 8 hours of recording and editing a long form project like an audiobook. And it's as simple as just managing that work day, which is, recording a couple of chapters, taking a 5-minute break, drinking some water, and then editing those chapters, and then going back into the booth, breaking up my time, sending chapters off to be approved.
It's the technology aspect of all of that, like that just, which is really, we're at the whim of.
Yeah. And then sometimes that's my plan for the day. And then my agent says, this audition is due in 3 hours, and then I quickly set up my self-tape situation, which is behind me. And I go, okay, I need my lab coat, and I put together my little auditioning for engineer number 3 audition, and then edit that and send it. And then, back to whatever it was I was doing. Some days I'm on the puppeteering gig, so I'm on set all day. Sometimes, like today, for example, it's more of an administration and personal relations day. So I had a meeting about a grant that I'm writing this morning for a new theatrical project that's in the works that I'm really excited about. And I have this amazing opportunity happening right now. And then I've got a playwriting meeting with a mentorship program that we've just been accepted into for this new work that's in the cooker that I'm so excited about. So we've got that.
You don't go bad.
And then I'm working on the budget for the grant. And then I've got 4 voice auditions to knock out. And then I'll have dinner at some point. And then there'll be chewing in between there somewhere. And all the human things. But it's, long story short, it's varied.
It really is. The ability to switch between major creative tasks takes a tremendous amount of fortitude. I struggle even just plotting another book while I'm writing an existing one. I have to be in that one book, which is what slows me down, because you can't physically sit and write for 9 hours a day. It's not good for your body, and it's not good for your mind, and it's not good for your family, and all kinds of things. But I'd like to be able to do both, and I haven't figured out how to kind of work my brain that way yet. So that takes a lot of fortitude. I'm impressed.
Well, thank you. I think it's over years of doing multifaceted things, like being on tour with multiple shows where I was also the producer and also the one in charge of all the technical things and the contracts, and making sure communication was happening for payroll, and and managing actor personalities, and kind of being the mom, but then also jumping in and being one of the actors, and being the one that everyone goes to when there's a problem, and booking the hotel room, and so I think years and years
isn't enough space on your head for that many hats,
Yeah, and then in my hotel room jamming on what's our next play. We got to start working on that,
right?
Because we're just on this intense cycle of creation, which is how we managed to be so successful for so long. And the company continues. Monster Theater's thriving, and it's so great. It's so great. I've stepped away administratively just because well, you heard all the things I used to do.
Yeah, I don't know how you fit it all in.
My brain broke a little bit, and I said, you know what? We've built this gorgeous thing. Let's make room for young artists to come in, and we can nurture them and give these people opportunities, people who are presently hungry for it, who have that gumption and excitement. Wow. And then so many amazing actors have come out of it and had these incredible opportunities, and I've made new friendships. And Ryan Gladstone, the artistic director, is he's knocking out work and creating new work all the time. And I'm still, the company's still absolutely a part of my heart. I'm still an associate artist. And we still work on projects and that kind of thing. But yeah, I'm meandering on the side road and merging on once in a while between other projects.
That's a nice way to do it, though. It's like sort of, extended family that you stay in touch with.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I can see that.
Yeah, but I feel you on that. Like being in the middle of a project that takes everything you have, and it's so hard to be thinking about the next thing while you're in the midst of that arc.
Yeah. There's got to be a way around it. I just don't know what it is yet.
Yeah, I think contract workers go through that too. They're in the middle of building this huge project, and you also need to make time to be bidding for the next job.
Yeah. I think that's why it takes so long to build things, to be honest.
Yeah. Because you've always got to be lining up the next thing. Otherwise, you get to the end of the next thing, or you get to the end of your big project, and you go, yay! And then you go,
wait, how am I going to eat?
I got nothing lined up. I forgot about that part.
Right? Especially if you've got staff below that you're, sort of hovering over to protect and keep going.
Thanks, boss.
Yeah.
Anybody who needs something built?
That's the challenge. It is. I never thought about it before in terms of like construction, but you're absolutely right. And so that means that creatively, we're not the only ones in this boat. So
no,
it's just a matter of creating a system. There needs to be a system. That's the answer. Is everything is my type A brain goes, yes, let's find a system for that and just put it in its place. And
I'm ever searching. I'm ever, color categorizing and planning. I've got planners and markers.
I love planners.
And all the intentions, and oh boy. Yeah. And sometimes you also equally have to be able to go, no.
Yeah, that's it. No, exactly.
That's not what's happening today at all, actually.
I think that's, this is probably the first thing that's actually on my schedule that's actually happening this week.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we'll carry those things over. But there's pretty color coding again. And
that's the gratifying part is, color coding and then crossing off.
Like, yes. Crossing things off of a list is one of the most delicious things.
Isn't it? It's so good. Do you know that studies show that people who are list writers and cross things off the list are very successful individuals. However, people who have done a task that wasn't on their list, if they add that item to their list and then cross it off, they are the most successful individuals.
I think I read that similar study, so I just started doing that.
I'm like, well, I can fake it till I make it.
Yeah, sometimes I'll just put brush your teeth, cross it off.
Did it.
I'm already on top of this day.
Crushing the day.
Owning this day.
Totally. I completely agree.
Write a to-do list. Did it.
Exactly. That's actually on my list, believe it or not. Yeah. Plan my next week. It's on there and I cross it off. Oh my goodness. Yes. Type A, we have some issues. So I have to ask about your voices.
Yeah.
Do you know how many different voices you do?
I've never stopped to count. And some of them are arguably slight variations
Okay.
on a theme. But I can say there was a show called Best Picture that I used to tour with some friends where we did I think it was all, at the time, it was all 88 Oscar Best Picture winners in 1 hour. And so it
Wow.
was this rapid fire mishmash or like mashup of every single Best Picture winner throughout time.
Oh,
And
that'd be
we're
fascinating.
all just like ripping through all these different characters and, impersonations or, nods to characters. And I think I did about 57 voices in that show.
Oh my.
And yeah, and between dialects and lisps and who
That's
knows
what I was
what,
going to ask, like accents and
and
languages.
yeah, accents and puppet shows and all that kind of stuff. I mean, probably, yeah, upward of 80 or so. But I'm also always crafting a new voice or finding a new voice to go with whatever the character requires. I kind of step into the skin of them and sort of figure out what their
Yes.
mask might be and where they lead from. Like a lot of it is emotional too.
Oh, absolutely. I
No,
can totally see that. Yeah, it comes across.
right?
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah,
I could use the same voice, but if this is their body language, it informs just the delivery of it,
totally.
or
Yeah, it informs the intent.
yeah,
Yeah.
or if someone just keeps their mouth closed, someone like just like face shape, like the face shape can change things so much, you know. Or
That's amazing.
placement, like where you place it, and just some of it gets ridiculous. Or some of it, yelling, put it through your nose, and
I have
take it into your diaphragm, Take it into the psychic studio, It just depends on who's talking and who's listening and how we can best get into their ears and hearts.
It's amazing. It's truly amazing. And to be able to switch through, I do not have that talent at all.
I I didn't. I've been hacking away at it for like a good 30 some odd years. So
It takes practice for
you
sure
can
and
do it.
dedication.
You
I
can do it.
know. I don't think so.
You just have to do it to do it. You know what I mean?
Well, it's funny. If I could do one thing, if there was one thing that I would ever pick as a career, it would be singer-songwriter. I can't sing.
Everybody can sing.
No.
Everybody can sing.
Okay, I can't sing and still want people to hear me.
That's just a block to get through.
That would be
Everybody
my
can
ultimate
sing.
dream.
It's just whether you've released your resistance to it or not.
Well, I've watched my family's resistance to it, so
The only lens that matters is your own. Let it be private and let it be for you. But
yeah.
I encourage.
Oh,
Part of my vocal warm-up every day is belting out some kind of ridiculous karaoke ballad.
really?
And I don't care if it's off key. I don't care how horrible it is or how wrong I have it because I don't know the song that well. I kind of do like karaoke roulette. But I just emotionally engage in it.
Oh, wow.
And just belt it out for all the world to hear, but not really because I'm in a booth.
Yeah. See, I just need a booth.
It's just close yourself off, hide under a blanket. But it is emotionally liberating. It
I
opens
bet.
the core. It gets you emotionally connected.
Mm-hmm.
It gets your breath going, and it kind of makes you feel like a superhero. Just to have opened up, right? Because anytime we have any tension or reluctance,
everything closes. Yeah.
The first place it goes is here, right? Like, and you find you're clearing your throat a lot.
Yeah.
It's usually because you're tense or you're feeling emotionally insecure about something or closed off, right?
Yep.
So in a safe space, which is just you,
Yeah.
no one watching, to just be able to give her, it. Oh man, it feels so good. I get all charged up. I recommend.
Well, so since you've mentioned both a superhero and a booth, I'm gonna say it's quite funny because I'd love to take a peek at your magic booth, because I actually imagine it to be like the phone booth for Clark Kent that he sort of dives into and he transforms into Superman. So
Yeah, it's
I would
similar.
love to see your booth.
Similar. There are no unitards involved, but okay, I'm hardwired. I'm going to, oops, just going to adjust for this little journey here. I will do this as elegantly as possible. But welcome to my work studio. I presently have my curtain pulled behind me because that's what I use for my acting self-tapes. I'll just give you a little lay of the land. But this can pull across, and that's a sound blanket there, which I also pull across because there's my window. So that helps deal with any noise that might be trying to compete from the outside world. This is my editing computer and editing station. Da, 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 da.
I like the size of that monitor.
Yeah, I know, right? And then you can see the window into my booth there. So when I am recording, I angle my monitor so I can see it through the window, and then I've got a wireless keyboard and mouse so that I can be doing little mini edits as I go. Okay, hang on. I gotta disconnect the cable so I can take you with me. Adjust some things. Welcome. Follow me. Come on in. Okay, so this is the studio. It's all treated with acoustic foam. That's my magic wizard.
Everybody needs a magic wizard.
Obviously, it's basically a given. This is my, I don't know if the lighting here, let me see if I can manage this. This is my microphone, and this is my iPad from which I read scripts. So that's where I was reading your text as I delivered. So I stand here.
Just sounds.
Yeah. This is Gary.
Hello, Gary.
Gary, there is great value in having big shiny eyes to whom I deliver things. I use him a lot for like if I need to be really emotionally connected in a piece. I think there's real value. I know it's ridiculous, but there's real value in connecting into big, shiny, warm eyes. If I need to say something that really means something, it's kind of, I think it's similar neuroscience to that thing with how, looking into a dog's eyes or your beloved one's eyes,
any Disney character.
yeah. But it releases that oxytocin, or it creates that bond or that real emotional world.
Yeah.
And so anytime I have some dialogue that needs to be witnessed, I will look right into his eyes. And Gary and I have had a lot of special moments. It's also really funny, I mean, maybe it's just funny to me, but if I have really dry commercial copy that I'm reading, and and they say conversational, as if you're talking to a friend, and I'm looking at Gary and I'm like, sometimes I just can't get my laundry clean, and I make a nod, thanks to bounce strips or whatever. I don't know.
That's awesome. And I'm so going to borrow that idea and get myself some big-eyed something for when I write dialogue.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And make them react and nod and listen to you, and just having someone else to play off of is huge. Sorry, I'm going to be blown up for a second. But yeah, as you can see, then it seals off, and I've got like a minus 75 dB noise floor in there because it's so well sealed, which is natural and easy and within ACX standards, which makes my life easier.
I bet.
It gives you a good, clean room tone.
And is it warm in there, or is it climate controlled?
It can get a little sweaty.
Okay, I was gonna say, it looks like a little sauna. So
yeah. The ceiling panel is movable. So in the summer in particular, I'll lift it and pivot it, and then I've got vents through the
So
top.
airflow.
And I've also got a little air hole at the bottom. But I
We like
definitely,
our oxygen, us humans.
yeah, right. And yeah, oxygen, you know, uh, don't underestimate its value.
Right.
So, and I break up long form narration into small bits. I kind of do the Pomodoro method, so I never burn out. So I'll do, 30 minutes on, open the door, air it out, go for a walk, do 5 push-ups, drink some water, go back in,
Okay.
kind of thing, just to keep my energy fresh, never hit the wall, go back, listen to the last thing that I recorded to make sure I'm still matching pace.
Yeah.
Have a brief check-in. Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, I do that. Just
Oh yeah.
before I write, I have to go back to what I wrote last, and to get sort of put the code of the character back on and
Yeah.
again. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk audiobooks.
Let's.
Okay, so you recently finished the narration of my last novel, All That Was. I'd love to go behind the scenes here. How did you approach the story, the narration, the characters? I think basically, how did you get inside my head and pull off bringing each unique character and each unique voice to life? Because you essentially, like you created the people who I heard, but if you'd asked me what they sounded like, there was no way I could tell you in advance. So I'm amazed, and I don't know how you did it. So how did you get inside my head?
Well, first of all,
that do that.
That's the greatest compliment that a voice actor could receive. So thank you so much. I'm so glad that that you connected with, or that my takes on the characters resonated for you. That
Totally good.
that.
I know.
It feels good. Yeah. That. Oh gosh. Oh. So I think my history as a theater actor really informed the process, because when there's so much dialogue, you're effectively reading a play script.
Yes.
When it comes to this kind of application, right? So I was able to use a lot of those same tools where I break it down, I look at each character, I look at their where they are in their lives in the moment where they appear in the story, what their moment before might have been, what their intentions are, what their arcs are, a lot of that same kind of preparation work. And
okay.
And I also really believe in all of the preliminary work, like what we did. We did a bit of an extensive audition process where which is vital to me. Like I think it's really important, right? Where I said, please tell me about the characters and a bit of their emotional world and their tone and that kind of thing. And I was able to send you samples and go back and forth until we found a flavor. And then I felt confident that I could roll from there. With of course a few minor adjustments along the way, which is always.
I have to say minor, like she's not kidding, like very minor. There were hardly any things that we had to go back and like the odd word out of 3 chapters. It'd be like 1 word. That was it.
Which was amazing. It was such a breezy and beautiful process.
It was such a joy to listen to, because I appreciated the story so much more as I was listening. And it was very close to being able to see it on screen for me. Like
wow.
It was that visceral for me. So I think it's done exceptionally well. And I would recommend it. I said if you had to choose between reading it or listening, I would go listen.
Oh my gosh.
And I don't reread. I'm not a rereader. I don't reread books.
Wow.
That's actually the biggest issue with being a writer, is you have to reread your own work a lot, and I'm not a fan of that. And so usually when it would come to the audiobook, I'd be like, okay, I gotta psych myself up for this and re-listen to something that I already know the outcome of.
Right.
And that wasn't the case. I was absolutely taken along the journey, which is impressive because I wrote it.
Yeah.
So that was amazing. So
Oh, that is so cool.
I think that you and I should get together and write the screenplay, is what I think.
Totally. I'm not even kidding. That would be so fun.
I really think we should.
Yes. Okay. That's our
next project, because the tiny red object just
Yeah.
appeared.
Yeah. It's adapting for Screen Banter with Tanya and Tara. We both learn new things.
So it is kind of funny. As an author, there are a lot of things that I don't consider while I'm writing the story that actually get pointed out in the narration process. Sometimes it's like there was one line where you asked me, is this Emily or is this Elizabeth? And I had to like really think about that and go, I actually don't know who was talking at that point in time. So apologize, readers, for that if you also wondered. But then it allowed us to make the decision of who we were intending to talk and things like that. Or alliterations. Authors don't think about alliterations.
Yeah.
And so you hear it and you go, that was a lot of S's, or that was a lot of T's, or something like that. So you forget about those things. But one of the things that caught me the most was I actually look at the story as having like two major characters with two supporting characters. And if you forget about the people in the wings, because they're just like, wallflower characters, they're just there to add perspective and color up some of the environment. And it hit me hardest. Besides Mrs. Peters, I absolutely love Mrs. Peters. She is such a doll. And I have a Mrs. Peters.
She is the sweetest. She just is.
I put her type of characters in every single book I write. She's a staple to my writing. And I don't know if readers have discovered that yet or not, but I literally put a character like her in every single book because
I understand why.
Grandmotherly and loving, and you just want to take her home or take her for tea or something. Yeah. But the waitress,
right,
at the diner, she comes in to just take their order and leave, and I could literally hear her smacking her bubble gum in the narration. And I was like, holy crap, like I can see this woman that is so not impressed with her job. And she knows something's going on at the table, but she just doesn't really want to get into it.
Right.
Every single character you approached, you put the same care and attention into, and you basically made them individual people. Do you see them as individual people in your creative process?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Anyone to whom I give voice, I step into their world for a minute, because it's voice acting. I think there are a lot of people who want to get into voice acting because they've got a great voice, but which is an awesome way to start. But as you go on, you realize that emotional world and that engagement in the moment is vital and reads in the performance, So I think it very much speaks to the name of your publishing company, rippling effect. You think about a stone in the water ripples out. Every person, even if they seem just kind of incidental, they've got a whole arc.
Yes.
And their world is going to be shaped going on from this moment that they have with your hero. And the hero is going to be informed by that little moment they shared, So, but also it's also as simple as taking cues from the author. You set that up beautifully. I can't remember the text around it exactly, but it was something about kind of a less than enthusiastic about her job kind of thing. It was, it set it up perfectly. I was like, oh, well, I know who this woman is,
We've all met her.
We've all met her. We've all
Had diner food served by her.
For sure. As she kind of like shuffled up, And so, yeah, with any character, I usually give them kind of a moment before, or even a key in phrase, just to jump into their world. Like, okay, here come a couple of young ones. Hope they're not princesses, or like, I gave her some kind of thing like that, right?
Yeah.
And then I showed up, like, okay, so what do you want? And I can't help it. Like, I act it out. I fully act it out. Like, my body is engaged the entire time. I have a different physical position for every character.
I think that is the key right there. Your theater experience and the way that you do act it out. It actually, you can hear it. You can hear it in the narration. You can absolutely hear it. It's so cool.
I'm so glad, because frankly, I can't help myself.
You were meant for this.
I'm all in all the time. It's how I'm built.
It's complex, because I think, like, I know when I develop a character, even wallflower characters, I have a very strong identity of who they are.
Yeah.
But I can't give the reader all the backstory of their life, of why she's there waiting tables and, and all of that. But yet when it comes to voice, her history comes with it.
Which you can bring a bit of it. Yeah.
Which is, that's the gateway, that's the bridge to bringing it to life. And I love it.
It's just
I love it. I think I should stop writing and have all my books narrated.
It's just another sensory tool on top of your words.
But it makes the words stronger, which is really, well, I appreciate it. Definitely, because it's.
I'm so glad as far as you're my target audience. So if you're readers agree.
So true. Okay, so All That Was is different from my other novels in that I wrote it. Well, okay, actually, I rewrote it. Emily's character was originally written from first person point of view. So I originally wrote her as I was putting on her coat and being her and navigating her life. But my editor, very wise and very lovely editor, encouraged me to rewrite Emily's part in third person point of view, which was a huge struggle, actually. Because there's this person in between your character now and the reader, and it's this invisible narrator who has perspective and voice, but yet it is not there. So how do you do that? When you created that narrator's voice, I was like, there it is. I can see it now. Because I struggled with it the whole way, and I worry that it's not my strongest, because the book isn't my strongest because of that having to be third person. But when I hear the audiobook, I go, wait a minute, you got it. You got it. So perhaps readers got it too. And I could be being more critical on myself, but I don't know. But so I'm wondering, how did you find that narrator's voice?
Oh gosh. Well, I think if that was a challenge, if you were stepping out from your usual form, you did it with incredible skill. I wouldn't have known that this was an unusual form for you.
Really?
That narrator's voice came very easily to me. I hadn't really thought about who she is necessarily. There is kind of that omniscient overseer, but I did find myself being emotionally engaged in Emily's journey as I observed it, and so I came to realize that in many ways I was sort of the a tour guide, or
Yeah.
sort of
Good
the,
way to put it.
or kind of coming from the perspective of the reader, like, hey guys, I'm one of you, and I'm
Yeah.
taking you through this world, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think uh, there were moments where I thought, oh, I've got to re-record that because I'm telling them what to feel about that. Like that's one danger, is the
Yeah.
narrator should be more neutral to let
Yes.
the reader think however they
Yeah.
think and feel however they think and feel about whatever's
Yeah.
happening, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Usually it does need to be a more straightforward, factual delivery of the landscape of the story. But I did sometimes find myself emotionally commenting on things in my delivery, and I did leave a little bit of that in there, but I endeavored for it to be more a lens of compassionate observance, or observing.
Yeah.
She was the voice of a compassionate observer leading you through this young woman's story. So I guess in a way it was me,
Yeah, it was you. It was
In
totally
a
you.
way it's
You're going to be the voice in my head if I ever
Tara,
write
yeah,
a voice
yeah,
segment.
yeah. Tara Travis in her professional voice, leading you through a story. And I intentionally, I did a lot of the character prep and the breakdown, but I intentionally didn't read it too closely or ever too far ahead, because
Ah,
I wanted to discover the story with the audience.
interesting.
I didn't want to unintentionally play the end at the beginning, which can
Mhm.
happen sometimes, right?
I never really
Um,
thought of that approach. That's
or
very
I may have unintentionally loaded something with importance rather than letting it unfold in its own time.
yeah.
There are things that, oh, had I known that, oh, you know, I would have probably made that seem too important, and I would
Oh,
have taken away from the magic of that reveal. Um,
interesting.
so yeah, I
That
mean, I think
that's
it all depends.
fascinating.
It depends on the world of each book and each project, but
Mhm.
with this one, I thought I want to discover this one with them.
I think that was a really good approach for this because it is a discovery. It's a self-discovery as well as a storyline, plotline discovery as well.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's wow, that's really interesting. I like that. Okay. I do like that. Um, so let's put you in the hot seat for a minute. If you had to pick a character from All That Was, who would your favorite be?
Oh,
I know,
a hot seat.
right?
Um, well, I know I'm going to sound like a mother, being like, "I love you all equally," um, but I think it's true in the way that any character that I lend myself to, I do love them, because I jump into them, and I have compassion for them and compassion for their perspective, and I'm on their side.
Yeah.
So I had a special connection to each one of them as I found them. As far as the one that I found the most delightful to voice, I would say Dorothea,
I thought so.
hands down. Partly because she just came so easily.
Oh,
There are some of them I would kind of fight with, or I would have to go back to my reference and listen to it a few times again. If they hadn't spoken in a while, and get the placement again and listen. Oh, okay, okay, yeah, no, 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 there he is, there he is.
yeah.
But with
Yeah.
Dorothea, anytime I just thought of my reference character for her, and then
That was it.
and then there she was, and she just kind of spilled forth. So I think I
Oh,
do have a very dry a dry, self-assured, tell it like it is gal inside me. You know, I think
Cynthia
it's just basically myself in a few years. You know, she's just
with probably less
yeah,
imbibing.
yeah,
She's
right.
a character who was fairly liberal and
Yeah.
hilarious, though. I mean, she's a hoot. She really is.
Big time hoot. Yeah, I had a great time with her. But I
forced herself in.
loved them all and enjoyed them all so much.
Was there any that you didn't like?
And I had a great time together too.
Was there any characters that you didn't like?
Again, I love them all. As far as like vocal struggles go, or performance struggles go, Ryan was one I had to carefully manage because because I kept making him sound like a total doofus, or like I make him sound like a dude, bro. Like this character guy would like come in, you know. Like I kept accidentally going there with him. And you know, knowing that he had an emotional journey and incredible importance, I couldn't make him a caricature, right? I had to find a vocal placement where he could be relatable and have, you know.
And not to mention he was male, so that's also a little harder.
Yeah. So so that was one where I had to retake a couple times because I was like, okay, no, sounds like he's about to go, you know.
He did have that vibe to him, though. I have to say that I kind of got that like California boy vibe, which I was fighting against that as well as I was writing.
He was a bit doodly. That's it's just how he came out. But I
more upper class yuppie, but he fought against it. And characters will do what they do. They
characters will do what they do, and that was the best I could do with him. And Pastor Michael, I love him so much.
Me too.
From an editing perspective, and this is just completely me. This is a technical thing, but this is the Pastor Michael, by the way. Anytime I went into him, I had to do this.
The voice it gets me.
But because of the placement of where I put him, I created so much mouth noise. You know, all that little like lip smacking noise that's like so awful when you're listening to an audiobook. Those little he created a lot of that. So anytime I had to edit any swaths of Pastor Michael, I'm just like picking out all these little ticks and
really. And you must have done a brilliant job with that because I didn't notice any.
It's just a lot of editing.
Editing your friend.
But you know,
my friend too.
What are you gonna do?
Well, that's because his voice turned out beautifully. Like you could see him. He's
Oh yeah, I absolutely saw him. You know, I felt that I was stepping into his body very much.
He's a very present character. Like when I was writing him, I felt like he was with me, and he has a very. It's not heavy, but he has a presence in the space. When you start to write or read or have to emulate him, he's there.
Yeah,
so. Maybe he is we'll say that. No spoilers.
No spoilers. I know. I had to think earlier. I was like, okay, how can I make this observation without?
Right, because I'm thinking everybody's read it, but not everybody has heard the story. So I
no spoilies.
No spoilers. So now that all that was is all wrapped up, what are you working on?
Well, goodness, what
aren't you working on?
What else? Well, I'm ever working on Phantom Signal, the podcast, which is a theatrical horror satire comedy show, all original, very funny. It's like ridiculous business. But if you want to hear me do quadrillion voices, that's always a hoot. Phantom Signal, find it in all your places.
Okay, I'm going to go put this up so that people can see this. There we go.
Yes, I'm 1/3 of that cast. I'm also with Jason McDonald and Andrew Bailey, both incredibly talented humans. So that's very fun. That's an ongoing. I'm working on Alpha Squad, which is that incredible new kids show / app / game / interactive toy / world that is in development coming soon.
Do you have a date for that, or is it?
Pardon?
Is there a date?
Not yet. Not yet. So I think we're doing the slow unraveling, building up excitement
Okay.
as things gel and come into play. But
so follow Tara on Instagram so that you know when it's out, because I think it's going to be fantastic.
Tara Travis voices, and there will be little bits and pieces I think that are revealed as we go. But I'm very excited about that project. And then what else? I'm auditioning for more audiobooks. I've got another one that I'm presently in that back and forth getting the characters right phase.
Good. Okay.
Which, we're still deciding, but if that goes forth, that'll be a lot of fun. That'll be my next project. And what else? I just shot a commercial yesterday. Always auditioning for things. I've got puppetry creation coming up, and I'm in creation for this new theatrical work.
That's right. Yes, that you were saying. Yes.
Yes. I'm actually flying to Alberta for a creative incubator. Very, very carefully, COVID safe, careful, bubbling up.
So private jet.
Yeah, private jet. Every precaution. But yeah, I can't say too much about that either.
Okay.
But
follow Tara on Instagram so we can keep up.
Yes. But
so if an author is watching and they're thinking about having their book transformed into an audiobook, what is the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Shoot me an email. I'll make it easy. Tara@taratravis.com.
Perfect.
I also have a little form on my website that will send your message to me too. But I would be honored to bring a voice or voices to your work.
Usually multiple.
I do fiction, I do nonfiction.
You do it all.
I do it all. Or I attempt to.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So if you would like to hear Tara's amazing telling of All That Was, head over to your favorite audiobook retailer and start listening today. At the time of this interview, All That Was, the audiobook, is available at Kobo and can already be requested from your local library. Some retail platforms take a little longer than others, like a month or so longer than others, but they're coming. Everything's been done and sent off and ready to go, so it's just a matter of time. So just keep an eye out for that. Thank you so much, Tara, for joining me today and sharing your beautiful talents to All That Was. And if you want to check out more of Tara's projects, head on over to taratravis.com and be sure to follow her on Instagram. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Tanya. Thank you for writing a gorgeous book.
Thank you for narrating it and making it gorgeous.
Thank you all for watching and listening.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Wow, yay.
Yay. It's just about 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah, right?
Exactly.
Okay, I'll see you there.
Okay.